Hello and welcome to Frank's School. I'm going to call this handling an old knee brace. This is a knee brace, and I'm going to be handling it. But I have a few things to say first about that. This is the 7th year, 169th video, day first video, and the 22nd in a playlist called Guided Building of a Faux Cut. Now, when I was picking this up the other day, I went to look out to see if I could find one. I realized how much I like to handle wood. I wonder if it's in my genes, my Scandinavian past, that it just gives me satisfaction to handle wood. I wire brushed it, let it dry out a little bit. It was the best one I could find of the stack I have, but they're all broken. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But anyway, it occurred to me, how to handle a knee brace. Well, it reminded me of the song "How to Handle a Woman" from Camelot. It got going through my head for quite a while, and then the answer given in that song is you love her. That's the way you handle a woman, and I think that's true of me with wood. I love wood. Now, I put knee and brace both in quotes. I've got a bit of an issue with the idea of knee brace. Why do they call it a knee brace? It's a brace. What's that got to do with a knee brace? I don't know. I guess maybe it's because of the length of it. This is quite a short one. They're usually a little bit longer. Another thing, they usually come. There were factories set up that just made braces, knee braces, if you wish. You could order them in a catalog for your barn. You were building timber framing a barn. Well, you ordered the knee braces ready-made. I have a catalog that actually, an old one that showed that you could get them. Because they're rather tricky to make. I mean, I'll say about this in just a little. The mortises for them are also tricky to make. For them, they had these old machines that you cranked like this. Can't think what they're called, and you could actually angle them down to a 45 to use the same. To use the same rig to do it. It was a double hander. I had a couple, but they were in terrible shape, and you might still be able to get them. But anyway, it was a lot of work to make those knee braces. Now, as I say, I don't like that word. I don't see why it's necessary, but I compare it to a knee wall. I'm going to talk a lot about a knee. There's two knee walls or four, you might say, in this faux cut. And that's the only term I know for that kind of a wall. And I think it's justified because it is basically as high as the knee. I guess where it comes from. I also put brace in quotes though, because in a way this is not a brace, this is a strut. Because of the pins, it will work like a brace, but it's principally a strut, which now takes me to Alan Semanek. He's dead now. He's one of those maybe a dozen or maybe 24 men in my whole life that have been fantastic mentors and have just taught me so much. And I remember him explaining to me, he was a little older than me, when we were working at Old Bedford Village, that, with timber framing, there's a post, there's a beam, there's another post. And I was pointing out that the braces keep it from racking. We were talking about that. And he said, yes, but there's something else. They also shorten the span. That had never dawned on me. I'd worked as a carpenter for a while, for quite a while now, and studied this matter. But that never dawned on me. If you've got a brace like this, it actually shortens the span from, say, 8 feet, or let's say 12 feet, to 4 feet, 4. You can shorten the span, and he's right. But what he was talking about was using them as struts. Now the pin will do that to a certain extent. If you've just got those pins in there, to the extent that they'll keep them in the right place. But with a stop, as I showed you before, with stops, then you've got struts there. Well, this, and Elam, I'll mention Elam too, something that he's, I don't know him so well, but when I've attended the Mennonite church here, and Mennonites, half of them are named, their last name is Zimmerman. They are so good at woodworking around here. They really are the dominant woodworkers of this whole area. Zimmerman is the German word for timberman, a rough carpenter, but they're far from rough. And Elam, when I was discussing with him. I barely knew him at the time, and I was saying about braces. Could you have a brace like this all the way down, and the braces have to be on a 45? And he mentioned, well, a brace actually acts like a post to some extent, and of course he's right. But I had not thought about that either. It's not the same as a post, because posts you want them to be plumb, but they do. So all right, now on to this. When you, and thank you, Alan, you were right. Why I put brace in quotes, because actually this is a bit of a strut. Really, it's a strut. This is the surface that goes against the timber. This is the strut part, and where they're built so that if you imagine lifting it up into place, you could lift it up into place, and then once it's up in place, the pin holds it there. These pins, I had a bucket of them, and I got one that would fit in there. I don't know if you can see that. When they tear buildings down, sadly, they don't usually go to the bother of removing the pins. I almost beg them to, because if they don't remove the pins, when you use your heavy equipment to pull a thing over, which is the way they do it instead of piece by piece, there's where it breaks out. Either the pin or what's containing it snaps out. It has to give way, and that's how it gives way. And I kind of hate to see that done. All right, that's kind of enough, I think, for today. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Ian. Bye for now.